mugwort underground runners, when they move through the soil, they do kind of aerate it. I'll go in and judge the soil and really find the underground problem.
It's just really good.
I thought we'd reference this magic and medicine of plants. Look at that tablet. It looks like. We don't have a temperature warning yet. What do we have? We get things done. I'm super happy with the final look.
Plants with Bridget.
Oh, hello there. Fancy meeting you here. We're on what I'd like to call Mugwort Mountain. Because I didn't get out here in time, the mugwort has just taken over. This is really right now Mother Nature's erosion control. I don't mind that it's kind of grown here because it has helped to hold the hill in the interim before I've come in with my ultimate goal, which is larger conifers and maybe some ground covers that will act as competition. I have used sheets of cardboard on this hill. The cardboard has been covered in mulch, but it just ultimately makes its way down the hill, and that allows the mugwort to just come through like wildfire. Before it even began to shift down the hill, the underground rhizomes would just send up some top growth, and they would find their way in between the overlapping sheets of cardboard. So it just wasn't effective in this case. It might have lessened some weed pressure, but it wasn't the ultimate fix. So I am gonna pull these, and the height might help us with leverage to get to that underground portion. So before we go in and pull, I thought we'd reference this 1986 Reader's Digest Magic and Medicine of Plants and what it has to say about mugwort in particular. Before we can even get into that, this is a really weathered herbal armor. Mugwort, Artemisia vulgaris, an old time traveler's remedy. Mugwort protected medieval pilgrims not only from fatigue, but also from sunstroke and wild beasts or demons encountered along the road. John the Baptist wore a cingulum, or belt, woven from it in the wilderness, according to legend. Wayfarers once put it in their shoes to keep from becoming footsore. Even today, one modern herbal recommends steeping mugwort in water to make a bath for tired feet. And a pillow stuffed with the herb was formerly believed to reveal a sleeper's future to him or her in a dream. And some homeopathic doctors prescribe it as a mild sedative for women during menopause. This is all from this book. Do not take anything that I've just said as fact. I did hear previously to reading this that mugwort can help you lucid dream. You know, when you're dreaming and you become aware that you're dreaming. Is soft because it recently rained. That's what I was able to get, but you should shove the soil over and really see, what did I miss? We also have jewelweed, pretty transparent stem. It's like bluish, but it's actually not transparent. It's just a coating. So that's jewelweed. There's also some bindweed in here. Is a fun weed back there that I don't know what it is. And my goal is to at least get to that. That's a bindweed, and they go up counterclockwise on neighboring plants. Wild aster. There's an up close of its root. So wild aster sends down a deep taproot. And because I let it go for so long, it probably just had the time of its life here. And this weed bucket I dump over the hill because it's in a shady spot and things don't typically germinate. Oh, wow, guys. Here. That's what we're working with. A lot of hairs. If I keep looking at every single root, this job's just not gonna get done. How could you not? Do you see the root cap? So it's like a pointed end at the end of the root, and that helps it pierce through the soil underneath and spread. It's good to be ahead of the hydration. This is a procrastinator, like, reality, you know? You just have to get things done in a short amount of time, and so that's how you get things done. And a lot has been mulched since I've seen you. I'll go ahead and do a run through on that. The trailer needs to be used in 2 hours. 2 hours. And so I need to weed and take whatever mulch is on that trailer off the trailer. This is what we're dealing with. I'm scared. Since I've seen you last, this moth has been put here because the spirea that was here, it was getting far too large, and I just wasn't good about trimming it after it flowered. It was just getting bigger and bigger, and I didn't realize that they also sent out like new baby plants, and so there was several young spireas underneath it that were going to probably grow the size of the mother plant. So, and there was bindweed growing through it. Not to say that I got it all, but anyway, I wanted not a green plant, but a lime green plant here. I don't want anything to get like too tremendously tall because I like the sight line to see on that side of the hill and on this side of the hill. These can grow tall if you don't prune them, so I'll be mindful of that. This is just getting the top, you know? And then I'll go in and judge the soil and really find like the underground problem. It's just great because the mugwort underground runners, you know, when they move through the soil, they do kind of aerate it. They do kind of like loosen it. So when you get all that out and you run your hand back through the soil, it's like, feels so good. Feels like you want to put plants there, you know? Mulch is wonderful, but it just lays on top. It doesn't hold things in. That's why the mugwort is here, you know? The 𝖼𝑣𝥧📼 is really pretty. I am going to try and kind of get a good pull on her. This came out really easy. What do you think? There is a friendly green dragonfly that's keeping me company right now. I think it's satisfying when they're tall like this, when you pull them out, and to just like snap them in half. Like a little bit above the soil poking through, so I knew I didn't get a lot of the underground structure, and wouldn't you know, you're looking really okay, and you're looking tall. I wonder if it grew tall because it had to like find the sun, you know what I mean? I almost want to just plant jewelweed places just to pull it. It's just, it pulls out so good. Weeding on a hill is just obnoxious because your bucket doesn't sit straight. Like, you can't really get a wheelbarrow in here. I am also going to keep some of this mugwort. We're going to test out some folklore later in this video, so make sure you stick around for that.
A little zhuzh.
Look at my mugwort tail. That was rough. You see all those anchors? That's why. And then look, when I try and snap it in half like all the others, it's resistant. There's that thing we were looking at before. I still don't know quite what it is. Okay. maple seedling? You don't say. Those are everywhere. I can't wait to bring you guys to Maple Hill. That'll be fun. You know who I've been listening to lately? Zach Bryan. For a long time, I wasn't really, like, on the bandwagon. But when you're in a Zach Bryan mood, it kind of hits. When I listen to songs, I will listen to them repeatedly for like a lot of plays, and then I'll be sick of it. And then when I re-listen to it in the future, it's nostalgic, but it just doesn't have the same like novelty as when it's new. Now that's a wonderful mugwort, I think, to keep for later so that we can observe it more closely. That's really nice. Maybe we'll observe that one later too. Also, Gracie Abrams, daughter of J.J. Abrams, who knew? And I believe J.J. Abrams did like the Star Trek, right? Isn't he like a director for Star Trek? Yeah, she popped up in my car and I saw her cute little picture, and the song was great. What is it called? Closer? Closer to me? Closer? Something like that. And it was like such a bop. Sometimes I'll say, you know what? I'm in a Paramore mood, and I'll Paramore it up. I'm really doing some fine-tuned work with it. Bitter dog. Because the one last year, I didn't pull and it went to flower. At least the mosquitoes aren't out during the day. You're just sweating your tush off, that's all. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Whew. I just cleaned my apple. The other day, I was using my herbal armor, and I wasn't paying attention, and the spray nozzle was right at my face, and I did spray it in my eye. I've had like sunblock leak into my eye, and that's awful, you know. One time I used a sunbum cream, and it like sweated into my eye, and my eye was really on fire for like hours. And I was expecting, when I sprayed the herbal armor in my eye, which is like essential oil based, I thought, oh no, and it had totally dissipated within 5 minutes. I'm really happy that that didn't go worse. Oh no, Bitter Doc is a bitter old man. Bitter Doc. If you let him go for too long, the root needs to be dug out. It can't be pulled. Oh my God, we're getting there. Oh, look at that. See, that's an example of a root tip if I've ever seen one. Whoa. This is a jewelweed. That's also, we're gonna look at that later. Our pile of look at this later versus our pile that we should be dumping is becoming a little uneven. Is this, what is this? Is this a pumpkin? Oh my God, I think it is. You guys, I'm not pulling the pumpkin. I'm not doing it. The texture is really rough. And I think I dumped a pumpkin here at some point last fall. I put the pumpkin there for the birds to enjoy and the little critters to enjoy, and it came back. It'll take up space, that's for sure. It's fibrous root I'm pulling. The soil is becoming really nice to work with. You were like, when is she gonna get to that mugwort behind her? And jewelweed. And bitter dog. When you stand back from it all, you can see all of the insect life that you've just totally disrupted. So wild. A lot of ants, a lot of worms. The spiders are smart. They don't really linger. When they feel like someone's coming, they just kind of go into the wherever's bindweed. I always just thought it'd be a fun spot to put a pumpkin here. I'm kind of happy that happened. Maybe that's why I dumped the pumpkin here, because I wanted to see it grow. When you weed in this heat, it feels like an hour has gone by, but really it's only been 10 minutes. Oh no, that's our pile of looking at later. I meant to put that in the dump pile. We don't have a temperature warning yet. What do we have? Lift the canopy of this Russian arborvitae. Da. I'm debating trimming this so that it looks in scale with the mop that we just put there. I'm seeing adult Asiatic beetles just burrowing in the ground as they do during the day. We've cut the adult population in half by using a Floatron. And they feed at night, mostly. And they burrow in the ground during the day. So, if your neighbor has a lot of grass, like you treating for grubs is like pointless almost, because all the adult, the grubs go to the adult beetle form and then they'll just feed. So if we turned the Floatron on longer, this is year 2 with it, then I probably wouldn't see so much damage on like mostly foliar things like my hibiscus or the baby Joe. If it looks like I've been through hell, it's because I have. There's a couple birds over here. Am I by your guys' nest? A judge. All right, bitter doc. What do you have to say about that? Oh no, I just tossed all those dried flowered seed heads. Look at that tapwood. There? No, it's here. So don't just pull top growth and think you're getting the problem, because you ain't. It couldn't have come out any better. We're back on the ground. We got her. Seriously? All that for that. I couldn't pull it though. A worm. I'm okay if I'm like intentionally touching it, but when you plunge your fingers in the soil and you weren't expecting it, super gross. I was almost gonna leave that in there. Could you believe that? And our completed look of what was Mugwort Mountain, but not anymore, not anymore. After our big weeding excursion, and it was an excursion, let me tell you. Well, you know, because if you've made it this far into the video, what are you doing here? Are you learning something? I hope so. This is the mulched version. We have a defined rock border now that we've taken care of the weeds that were disguising it. Over this way, that was not a pumpkin, that was a sunflower. And she's getting yanked. The Russian arborvitae, I limbed her up by 4 feet from the bottom because that's where the rock wall was becoming hidden. And also it wasn't to scale with the mop as we discussed. So normally you wouldn't treat a plant like that. You would just limit, equally all the way around, but for this instance, that's how it grew and that's the strategy that worked here. So I'm super happy with the final look. The old antique pump, I was able to finally move out of here because the birds fledged the nest, and I could put up these citronella tiki torches, which have a cute look. And then this kind of just wraps around a little bit further. I want to go in with like a bold, just to fall in between, dark leaf black scallop ajuga. It's got the wider leaf, it's more bold and thicker, And I think that would be a nice contrast to the fine texture of this, and that. I did dry some mugwort leaves, and then I shoved the leaves in this makeshift dream pillow. I did not have a good night's sleep at all. At 5 a.m. I finally did fall into a deep sleep, and at that point I did have a pretty vivid dream about bringing my cat to the vet. Or it also could have been that my whole house smelled like mugwort because I had literally been baking it in the oven. Might have just been like the aroma, so I don't think it helps you in any way fall asleep. I don't know that it would reveal the sleeper's future, but I did bring my cat to the vet the following day. So I can't say that it didn't reveal my future because I was going to do that anyway, but it could have just been like an anxiety dream. I loved that foot bath. I dipped my feet in for about 30 minutes. I think that it does help fatigued feet, and I really did love that. I think I'll probably do that again. So that's the folklore in action.